Small and affordable lenses are in fashion right now. Why? Well, because they're small and affordable. But which ones are actually worth buying and which ones are just destined for the dumpster? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to find out, because I've gathered up 10 of the smallest and most affordable pancake lenses available, and not only will I be testing them out, but I'll also be ranking them to create a list that I'm going to call Tom's prestigious pick of perfectly performing and pitiful poo-poo petite pancake primes. And yes, Tom has always been spelt with a silent P. Stop asking so many questions. I should also mention that all of the lenses in this list are priced under $100, which is pretty wild, and whilst most of them are pretty standard lenses, some of them certainly are not so standard, and you'll see what I mean by that a little later on. I'm also going to be saving one of the very best options until last, so make sure you stick around for the whole video to see that. Anyway, starting off strong, first up we have the TTArtisan's 35mm f5.6. Now this lens is priced at $99 and comes available in the mounts shown on screen. This lens is very nicely made from what appears to be almost entirely metal, and it came included with this free cock pouch, which I will inevitably lose at some point, but I still appreciate the gesture. What's cool about this design is that it has this little lens cover thing going on that opens and closes as you twist the focus dial, which is really, really useful. I'm not going to lie to you though, looking at it from the front on does kind of creep me out a little bit. It looks like Wally's severed eye, and I'm pretty sure it's staring right into my soul, my arsehole. Anyway, this is a full frame lens, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you probably already know that I am a complete sucker when it comes to 35mm lenses, so I immediately felt right at home using it. And admittedly, although 5.6 probably isn't the widest aperture ever, as you'll see as we work through this entire list of lenses, this is actually pretty wide for this style and category of lens. Now, I was actually a little bit blown away by just how sharp this lens is, resolving plenty of detail at the center. Sure, there is a little bit of vignetting at the corners, but this was easy enough to fix up in Lightroom, and for $99 I'm genuinely very happy with the results that it produces. So for that reason, this is going straight into the A tier. Next up is something a little bit stranger, shall we say, because this is a cookie lens that you can buy for around $19. Now I've gone ahead and picked mine in the standard Oreo cookie color scheme, though you can also get this in pink, yellow, brown, or even all four variations for around $76. Why would you ever need 4 of these things? I have absolutely no idea, but if you've got money to burn or friends that you like to torment by giving them pointless gifts, then this is always an option, I guess. Anyway, there's really not a lot to say about this thing. It's essentially just a plastic lens cap style lens that's been nicely styled to look like an Oreo cookie. So there are no manual controls. You just put this on the front of your camera and off you go. Now, according to the back here, it does actually say that this is a 32mm f10 lens, and looking at the end results, the images do appear to be close enough to that focal length. I also spotted online that you can get a 25mm f10 version of this lens too, which has the same Oreo cookie design, but rather than having the full cookie like this thing with the cream and everything, you just get the top part. That lens is probably made by the same kind of savages that take the top part off the cookie, eat the icing stuff inside, and then put it all back together and eat just the actual cookie parts without any of the icing. Like, what is wrong with you people? But anyway, if you prefer using a wider focal length, that could be an option for you. In terms of image quality though, this is exactly what you would expect from a cheap plastic lens. The results kind of have that soft, hazy, toy lens look to them. Do I like it? Yeah. Kind of. I mean, it's fun, right? It's a fun effect to play around with. Will I use this lens all the time? Absolutely not. In fact, chances are this will live in a drawer and I'll never use it again for the rest of my life. So for that reason alone, I am going to have to slap this straight into the C tier. Okay, back to the serious stuff. And now we've got a very serious contender. This is the FunLeader 18mm f8 Pro. And you know this lens means business when it puts Pro at the end of its name. So I've got pretty high hopes for this one. Immediately, it gets top marks for freebies because it comes with this very nice zip-up semi-hard case. And for those of you at home who just chuckled at me saying semi-hard, grow up, will you? Now, I need to come clean with you on this one because technically this lens is priced at $105 for this Pro version at least, which means that it's slightly over the completely arbitrary and non-binding price ceiling that I've set for myself to make this video just harder to produce. But if you head over to the FunLeader website, it's currently on sale for around $89. So it does technically fit within our $100 price bracket thing. So just relax, relax, okay? You're getting yourself all worked up like that. It's not good for your blood pressure. Anyway, this is a very nicely made lens, made entirely from metal, though unfortunately it doesn't have one of those nice lens cover things that we saw on the TTArtisan's one just a minute ago, and the aperture is locked in at f8, which means that this isn't going to be much good in low light either. Now, although this is super slimline, which I like, the focus ring is slightly recessed, which makes it really fiddly to rotate, especially when it's attached to your camera, and if you've got long, clumsy fingers like I do. But what about the image quality? Well, the 18mm full frame field of view is very wide, which certainly makes this a good option for landscapes and architecture. And whilst the center sharpness is actually pretty good, it does create a super dark vignette around the edges, which is very distracting and quite tricky to remove using the standard lens correction sliders in Lightroom. Now, alternatively, you could also put this on a crop sensor camera, and that would not only remove some of that vignetting, but it'll also give you a field of view that's closer to that of a 27mm, which is probably a little bit more versatile. But regardless, considering that this is one of the more expensive options in this lineup and it's producing results like this and it's fiddly to use, I am going to have to deduct points and stick this in the B tier. Next is a slightly odd one in the sense that this lens is actually a pancake fisheye lens. This is the AstrHori 10mm f8 Mark II, back with a vengeance. And the first thing that struck me about this one when I got it out of the box is that it actually comes included with a UV filter already screwed on to the front of the lens. Now, I'm going to assume that this is here so that you are actually able to attach this standard lens cap for some kind of protection, but whatever the reason, A, lenses get points for freebies in this game, as we're now well aware, and B, this also means that you can actually combine this lens with other creative filters, which I don't actually think is possible with any of these other options in this list. So again, bonus points there too. Now, broadly speaking, I've found that AstrHori lenses are usually very nicely made, and this one is absolutely no exception to that rule, being made entirely from metal and having this nice textured finish on the focusing ring on the front here makes it really easy to locate just by touch alone. Now, technically, this is an APS-C lens, but if you put it on a full frame camera without the crop mode activated, you can actually achieve photos with that circular fisheye effect, which is great if you like that kind of effect. No one likes that effect. This also helps to better demonstrate just how wide the field of view is on this lens. You can actually see my fingers holding the grip of the camera and my legs in the bottom of the frame too, all at the same time, which is pretty nuts. But with the crop applied, this effect is less exaggerated, and all in, this is a pretty nice little lens. The images are plenty sharp enough, and although there is a touch of vignetting at the corners, this is fairly easy to fix in post. The main drawback, I personally think, is that it has a fixed aperture of f8, because this will limit where you can use this lens without having to crank your ISO sky high. All of that said though, this is still a solid performer, and for less than $80 I really can't complain all that much, so I still think it deserves a place in the A tier. Anyway, this next one is definitely one of my favorite budget lenses of probably of all time, and although it doesn't technically call itself a pancake lens, just look at it. This is certainly small enough to make it into this lineup, in my opinion at least. But I appreciate this is a democracy, so I'm happy to take a vote on it. So all in favor of this lens making the cut? Okay. One vote. All against? Nobody? Okay, we'll carry on then. This is the TTArtisan 25mm f2, and I've seen this thing selling for as little as $64, which is a total bargain. It's made entirely from metal, it has a clicked manual aperture ring, and a very nice smooth focusing dial. As I've already mentioned, this has a maximum aperture of f2, so creating a nice thick background blur is never going to be an issue here. It also means that this would be the best of the bunch for low light photography as well, which is just another bonus. Now, the only real caveat to all of that is that this is an APS-C lens, so you will need to stick your full frame camera into crop mode if you want to use it without a terrible vignette around the edge, but honestly, I don't think that's too much of a big deal. Now, for the price, this lens is very sharp, even at f2, and once you factor in the crop, you get images that look like they were taken with a 37.5mm lens on a full frame camera, you know, that very popular focal length. But this makes it super versatile and is suitable for most things, to be honest, like street, travel, portraits, landscapes, you name it. So, with very few negative things to say about this lens, it should be no big surprise that this lens is going to make it straight into the S tier. Now, as the wise philosopher Plato once said, bingo, bango, bongo, do I have a bargain for you? Or words to that effect, I think. I've always fell asleep in philosophy class. That's right, this next lens costs just $48 and is a brand that honestly I have never heard of before in my life, but this actually turned out to be pretty good. This is an 18mm f6.3 lens from a company called SG Image, and not only is it super small and affordable, but apparently you can also use use it to hypnotize unsuspecting victims. You will comment on the video telling Tom how handsome and funny he is. You'll do it now, and I don't know why I need to sound like a Victorian ghost whilst doing this bit, but here we are. Okay, so this lens is a perfect example of why I genuinely love buying and reviewing cheap stuff that I've bought online, because sometimes it just makes me ask why. So this is what the lens arrived in, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but this just looks like a repurposed jewelry box, which I mean, you know, isn't a terrible idea in fairness, because it's hard and would protect your lens, but super impractical because it's just so heavy and large. And I realized I've just lied to you all, because earlier in the video I said that no other lens could attach screw-on filters, but I've just found this in the box. And the reason why I didn't see that is because it was hidden behind this thing, which I'm assuming is the instructional leaflet, but I wouldn't know because it's all in Chinese. Could just be a letter from the manufacturers telling me how crap my channel is. Idiots. That's what comment section's for. Anyway, this lens hood has a thread on it so that once you attach it, you can then attach 49mm screw-on filters, which is pretty handy. Now, this lens is actually very nicely made. It's super thin, without this thing on top, obviously, and it's actually one of the thinnest in the entire lineup, and it's made entirely from metal, and this nice, oh no, bollocks. And this really nice little lever here is what you use to focus it, which is super, super tactile. Plus, it has one of those fancy lens element cover things to protect the lens when it's not in use. And this lever actually nicely snaps between the closed and open position. So unlike the TTArtisan's lens that we saw earlier, where it's entirely possible to accidentally leave the cover like semi-open, semi. On this lens, that just doesn't happen. And when it does open, that first snapped position is set to infinity, which 9 times out of 10 for a wide angle lens like this is exactly where you want the focus to be set anyway. But on the opposite end of the focus, you can also shoot as close as 20 centimeters away, which means this has the closest minimum focusing distance of the bunch. Honestly, well done, guys. Well done, SG Image. Take a bow. Good job. But now I've just overhyped this lens, what is the image quality like, you may be asking? Well, this is an APS-C lens, so with the crop applied, the photos end up looking closer to that of a full-frame 27mm lens, which is pretty versatile. The sharpness is also pretty good, though you've probably spotted the only downside, and that's the very heavy vignetting at the corners, which does kind of suck. But honestly, if you can get past that, then for $48, this is a very nicely designed lens, so I think it does still earn itself a place in the A tier. That's right, nod and agree. Anyway, let's now dive back into the world of the slightly weird, because now we have a 3D printed 28mm f10 stereoscopic lens that I found for just over $19, so super, super cheap. Now, why has it got 2 lenses? Well, this is a lens that allows you to create neat little animated GIFs like this, and it works by capturing your subject at 2 very slightly different angles all at the same time and on the same frame, so that when you simply chop the photo up and animate it in Photoshop, you get this kind of result. Now, I don't have the time to deep dive into the full editing process of how I made those GIFs, because this video is already going to be way too long, and my brother, aka the guy editing this video, is probably already cursing my name under his breath as we speak. But this video up here does a great job of explaining how all of that is done, so feel free to open that into a new tab and watch it after we're done here, if you happen to be curious. Unfortunately though, this lens really isn't all that good for a few reasons. Firstly, the lenses are only able to focus on things at quite a far distance, which means it's limited in its usage. Secondly, there's a pretty large area in the middle of the frame where the 2 images kind of overlap, and it creates this weird ghosting effect. But chopping out the ghosting means that the movement is also decreased ever so slightly in the end result, making all of this kind of a little bit underwhelming. So for that reason, I really can't see all that much point in buying this lens, and it probably deserves to go in the bin. I mean, the D tier. Now, if you happen to be a long-term viewer of the channel, this lens might be a little bit familiar to you, as this is the same lens that I took with me on a ski trip last year, and I actually paired this lens with my equally small Panasonic Lumix GM1 to create a super portable travel setup. Now, this is a really simple lens, but also super slimline as well, and honestly, on that trip, I really didn't have many complaints to make about it. Now, although the GM1 is a micro four thirds camera, this is actually a full frame lens, so I was very curious to see how this would perform perform on a full-frame Sony a7C Mark II, though I got another version in Sony E-mount just for this video. Now, although the center sharpness of this lens really isn't all that bad, even on a full-frame camera, the vignetting at the corners is now pretty horrific and almost impossible to fix in post. So this is definitely a lens that's best suited to crop sensor cameras. But even so, as much as I like this lens, if you did absolutely need something that was just this small and a similar weight, then you'd probably be better off getting the 18mm from SG Image instead. And that's because this lens offers the exact same focal length, the same aperture, whilst being a very similar size and weight, but this SG lens is a much nicer built thing, has better handling, and is also $10 cheaper. But all of that said and done, when paired with the right camera, this really isn't a terrible lens. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to slap this one in the B tier. Right then, get comfortable. We're gonna have some minor internet controversy here with this next one. And yes, this is another 3D printed lens, and it's made by a company called PocketDispo. Now, you may have already seen this lens heavily advertised online because it seems to be everywhere at the moment, or you might just have seen it recently on the Linus Tech Tips channel where they completely roasted this thing and said,
"This next item I think is a scam."
This is garbage.
Correct.
Now, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. When I saw this lens pop up in that video, I cringed so hard that my balls almost turned into ovaries. And that's because either they were just intentionally talking smack about this lens just for pure rage bait, which, thinking about it, has obviously worked, or they just didn't bother to research anything about this lens before making that segment. Now, why do I think that? Because they were clearly commenting about this lens as if it's marketing itself as a serious piece of photography gear that you would use as your main lens on a daily basis, and this is absolutely not what this lens is used for. They even went on to compare it directly to a $1,300 lens that they own, which, you know, seems like a totally fair and balanced means of testing. If you spend 2 minutes reading the company's website, you'll find out that these lenses are actually made by taking the lens elements out of used disposable film cameras and then creating a 3D printed housing for it so that it will work on your mirrorless camera. And shock horror, the resulting photos look like they were taken with a cheap disposable camera, which is obviously the entire point. And it's a creative look that is super popular at the moment. Now, in my opinion, this lens should be treated more like a filter in the sense that this is used to create a very specific look for a very specific scenario where you want that kind of image. But that said, after testing this lens myself, for $50, I do agree with Linus that this price is a touch on the high side for something of this quality. As you can see, you can get one for $19, and it's pretty much the same product just with one lens. And very much like this lens, it also has a very limited usage. So for that reason, I think it's only fair that it lives in the C tier. Controversy aside, we're now onto the final lens in this lineup, and what I think is personally the best of this entire bunch. It is, of course, the Viltrox 28mm f4.5 pancake lens that was released not too long ago, and if you haven't already seen it, you can watch the full review in depth up here if you're interested. In a nutshell, the reason why I think this is just so good is because firstly, not only is it one of the smallest and lightest lenses in this entire lineup, it's also full frame, it's fully autofocus, and offers one of the fastest apertures too, fixed at f4.5.
Back of the net.
Now, one slightly unusual thing about this lens is that despite it having this manual lever on the front here to open and close a small lens cover, that's the only manual control on this entire lens. And yes, that means there's no manual focus ring, so you are totally reliant on the AF doing its job correctly. But luckily, the AF has proven itself to be quick, quiet, and accurate, and in terms of image quality, it's pretty damn good too. I mean, aside from a touch of flaring if you shoot into side lighting and some vignetting, the photos it captures are nice and sharp from edge to edge, and overall, I think this lens is a total joy to use, particularly for candid styles of photography. Now, this lens only just skirts around the $100 ceiling that we've set, coming in at $99, but considering the specs of this thing and its fully autofocus, I think this is an absolute bargain. And so, rather predictably, this lands itself in the S tier. Now, overall, looking at this final lineup, I have got to say I'm fairly confident with where all of these lenses have landed, but what do you think? Do you think I've totally cocked this up, or have I absolutely nailed it? You've absolutely nailed it, Tom. Okay, I promise I'll stop doing that now.